So there's a lot of excitement and fervor for Ram Bhakts around the country on the inauguration of the Ram Mandir, which is expected in January of 2024. The Prime Minister is expected to inaugurate the temple sometime in the third week of January. To get us a ringside view, a sneak peek into what Ram Bhakts across the world can expect and how the trust itself is gearing up for what is expected to be record numbers of pilgrims coming in on a daily basis. I'm joined by a very special guest here on CNN News 18. Mr. Nripendra Misra is the chairperson of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirtha Kshetra Trust. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. First things first, you've had many profiles in your life, many jobs you've done before as secretary to the government, as TRAI chairperson, but the chairperson of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirtha Kshetra Trust. When the Prime Minister called you and said he wants you to take charge of this project, what did he tell you? What was the brief he gave you, and how did you approach this job? Because I'm sure it's very different from whatever you did.
Well, it will require a bit of clarification. I am born out of the Supreme Court judgment.
True.
The judgment said that there will be a trust which will be autonomous. And presently that trust is headed by Nriti Gopal Das ji, Swami.
Yeah.
And the General Secretary is Champat Rai ji. The judgment had also emphasized and clarified and clearly said that the construction will be in the hands of a construction committee, which will be headed by chairman of the construction committee. So I am born out of that. I am chairman of the construction committee of Ram Temple. So that is what. Now ask about
taking up the job.
Second part. I was really not called by Honorable Prime Minister. There were inquiries made, and I had also casually talked about the possibilities because it was something very new which came from the judgment. It was not envisaged.
Correct.
So I had just mentioned this casually to the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister. It is possible that he may have conveyed it to the Prime Minister that this is what Mr. Misra has said. The inquiry came from Home Ministry.
Okay.
Because they were responsible for the final drafting of the trust, the document which got registered. And they wanted to know if I would like to, and in the event if I am willing to accept that job, then they were keen that the draft of the trust deed must be seen by me. So all that happened before the registration took place.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more. Everybody knows that the inauguration of the temple will happen in January 2024. The Prime Minister will be attending. I know you can't give us confirmed dates, but what is the window that we are looking at?
We are talking actually not of inauguration. It is the understanding for bhakts and devotees and everybody that you provide Pran Pratishtha, consecration.
Yeah.
And that is in the idol. Let me just first explain to you that what this idol is. You see, there was already a deity which exists of Ram Lala, and that deity has been recognized as a petitioner in the judgment of the Supreme Court. So that is one which will be installed in the sanctum sanctorum.
Okay.
But in addition, there will be another which is presently being carved, and 3 different sculptors at their own risk are doing the work on the basis of artwork which the trust gave to them.
Sure.
The artwork was done by a professor of the Arts College of Banaras Hindu University. The professor was told to create a picture which will be 4 to 5 years old. It will be a standing idol. Ultimately, it has to be about 51 inches. All these things have significance because it is closely linked with the technology. Based on that artwork, the sculptors have now started doing work. I should think that the final choice by every member of the trust
Yeah.
that which particular work of the sculptor will be finally installed and the Pran Pratishtha ceremony would start, that decision would take place sometime by end of November
Okay.
or maybe middle of December. The entire ceremony of Pran Pratishtha will begin sometime after 14th of January. That is the Makar Sankranti.
Correct.
It normally should take 7 days to 10 days.
Okay.
And it will all be decided by the so-called specialists, the saints, the sages, who are responsible for this entire work of imparting the life in the idol. The day of completion will be so matched with the day of the arrival of the Prime Minister.
Okay.
We are expecting invitation has been given to Honorable Prime Minister. The office bearers of the trust have made a request to the Prime Minister's office to meet him personally and also extend the invitation, personal invitation. And we are expecting that the date will be announced sometime by first week of December about the Prime Minister's program. But with all the other engagements of his, including the Republic Day parade, etc.,
Correct.
it is safe to presume that it will be anything between 20th of January to 25th of January or 24th of January. The final date and time, of course, has to come from him.
What about the other invitees? Who else have you called? I believe the trust has said that over 5,000 people have been invited. Who are these people?
The work for inviting people is entirely entrusted to General Secretary, who is Mr. Champat Rai ji. But the broad breakup is that roughly 2,000 saints who were involved right from the very beginning in bringing this date to reality, they would be invited.
Sure.
Their representatives, different, as we call them, believers in different form of prayers and idol.
Sure.
They will be invited. And another list of about 5,000 or 6,000 will be the distinguished guests of different walks of the society.
Okay.
They will be requested to come in the ceremony. So in all, it is expected that the day the Prime Minister arrives and he would be inside the temple premises, it will be something of the order of 8,000 to 10,000 guests who will be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other significant thing, and I guess the most viewer interest is in this question as to when will it be open for the public? Will it be right after the consecration ceremony itself? And how many people are you expecting? How many pilgrims are you expecting on a daily basis?
We actually gave this job of crowd management to one of the public sector undertaking of railways called RITES.
Okay.
They have done the study and they have actually surveyed the people who came in the last Ram Navami and on some of the other festivals.
Okay.
Based on that, the expectation is that roughly each day, immediately after the Pran Pratishtha and when the Prime Minister leaves, the next day onwards, we will have devotees maybe of 1.25 lakhs to 1.50 lakhs.
So more than
coming
1
every
lakh
day.
every
Oh,
day.
yes.
And it will be open right from the next day.
Yes, it will be open to everybody from the next day.
So how is, I mean, I've been to Ayodhya before COVID, so my impressions are from back then. How is a small town like Ayodhya gearing up to service, over 1 lakh people every single day?
It is a challenging task. And of course, the Ayodhya is changing every day.
True.
The state government is doing lot of work. It has already undertaken work of about 14 kilometers around the temple, the access roads which are coming. and they will all be completed by December. But you are right, a city which has a population of fixed permanent population of 3 lakhs will have always a migratory population of 5 lakhs.
Sure.
So it means where would they stay, what are they going to eat, what about the civic facilities. It's a challenge. And then there are different means by which they will be coming. There will be series of committed trains which will come.
Sure.
The airlines would have begun.
So the airport will be functional.
Airport would be functional by October end and November, middle of November.
Okay.
So we are expecting that the commercial airlines would fly in by middle of December. So that will be, then the obvious road link is there. So all this taken together, it sort of has its own problems.
Yeah.
Where would you park the buses? Where would you park the other 4-wheelers? Where are they going to stay? Are they going to walk 2 kilometers to the temple?
Yeah.
Are they going to walk 1 kilometer? But what about elderly? What kind of facility? Are we going to have shuttle services? So there is a very strong group under the Chief Secretary of Uttar Pradesh, which has been formed to monitor the entire issue of providing, facilitating comforts to the devotees who enter the temple.
So after this, do you expect some kind of a corridor, if you will, between Kashi, Ayodhya and Mathura, because these are the 3 holiest sites for Hindus? Do you expect, have you already been requested to head that project?
I think those who will come to Ayodhya, perhaps they will like to go to Varanasi, definitely.
Sure.
The natural corridor is Prayagraj, which is Allahabad, then Kashi and Ayodhya. This. And on the western front, of course, is Mathura. So the natural catchment is, and the link is between Ayodhya and Kashi. That's going to happen. And we were told that in Kashi, similar trend has happened. Every day, a new crowd and devotee, 50 to 75,000 people are coming. It is on that basis only that we thought 1.25 lakhs is going to be the normal number, at least for next 3 to 4 months.
Sure. You said earlier that, your position was born out of the Supreme Court verdict. I just want your thoughts on this because of the complex history of the movement itself, and there was violence as well. What would you say to those people that, because of the complex history and the political nature of it, what would you say to them, as we approach this consecration day, the opening of the Ram temple?
Actually, that mood was set by Prime Minister's message. When the Supreme Court judgment came, Honorable Prime Minister said there should be no misplaced euphoria. There has to be no winner, there has to be no loser. And honestly, I have been visiting Ayodhya. I mean, perhaps next visit of mine will be the 50th visit to Ayodhya that I would have made. And in all these months and years that I have been there is no such thing acrimonious atmosphere. There is no community divide. Everybody accepts that the temple is here. Everybody accepts that the mosque is being constructed about 25 kilometers away. And there is no feeling at all that something was demolished. Earlier something was demolished. There is a historical game of demolition and reconstruction. All those things, it's history. It's forgotten. That I have often recognized that was one single contribution of the judiciary. The judgment which they gave in November of 2019, it brought down the temperature of the country immediately to normal. And since then, the issue is dead.
Were you surprised when the verdict came and there was no visible fallout to the verdict? Yes, a few political parties made some noise about it, but at the level of the people, it's like, okay, either this is a chapter of history that we want to put behind us and move forward, or maybe all these anticipated fears were misplaced.
I think the first thing, of course, is the citizens have tremendous faith in judiciary. Even during the dispute, everyone said whatever is the judicial pronouncement, we'll abide by that.
Correct.
We'll accept that.
Correct.
So that is the first. And secondly, over the years, it was almost taken now as accepted fact that there will be temple and there will be a mosque. And that is what has happened.
Okay. Last couple of questions. I want to ask you about the funding, and there's been some controversy around that as well. How is the temple building funded? Is it entirely by devotees, by Ram Bhaks, or is there some government involvement as well? And
there is no money from government.
Zero.
Either of the state government
or of
the central government.
Okay.
Even let me give you, when we are buying wood for the construction of doors, we had approached the Forest Corporation of Maharashtra. There were certain requests made that the corporation may like to gift it for the temple, but it was denied.
Okay.
It was not accepted.
Okay.
The simple principle is it will be built by the donation of the devotees. And roughly the collection has been of the order of 3,500 crores. The collection has come from about 4 lakh villages, or little more than 4 lakh villages, where the individually people are contacted. And from the coupon of rupees 10 to coupon of rupees 1,000 and rupees 2,000 and beyond, all that was utilized. And it is a matter of great satisfaction that when roughly I would imagine that about 25,000 sevaks were requested to contact the villages and the people in the community.
Okay.
They were given the coupon, and they returned the coupon, they returned the accounts, and then 100% audit has been done. 100% audit has been
So
done.
roughly how many people do you think have contributed, donated?
Oh, it's definitely families I am talking about.
Sure.
More than 5 lakh families.
More than 5 lakh families.
Do
you also
I'm talking about?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you also
the number otherwise will be more.
It might be more, but at the very least 5 lakh families.
Yeah.
Do you also want to speak to the allegations that had surfaced some time back about corruption and misuse of funds and so on and so forth?
No. There was no such allegation ever about the misuse of funds. What was said was that certain land was purchased, and that land either it was paid on exorbitant price.
Yes, correct.
Or it was an Azul land which was bought again. Now the problem, it's a fact that if you really want to see Ayodhya records, almost entire Ayodhya is Azul land. So anybody who is settled there for the last 100 years, perhaps if you scratch, you will say you are occupying, you are an encroacher. But the fact of the life is that. Now we urgently wanted some little land. It is, if we have got, let us say, 71 acres, as a result of the purchase of the new land, our total area will not be more than 75 acres.
Sure.
So the total purchase is not of the order of more than 4 acres. And all that which was bought, it was said either that it was an Azul land. Yes, we recognize that, but we had to buy it. And after all, even in Vishwanath temple, when the houses were bought, the records were not checked, the people were given compensation because they were living there for 100 years.
Correct.
And this was then dismantled. So in such kind of settlements, these things do happen, but the inquiry was entrusted to the commissioner of the division, and he has given a certificate that there has been no irregularity in the purchase.
All right, and one final word, because this is in the news, and since you are the chairperson of the trust that's building the temple, this whole controversy around the Sanatan Dharm, what is your take on that? Is there a misinterpretation of the phrase, or, and especially speaking as the chairperson of the trust that's building the Ram temple, what is your understanding of?
You see, whatever, it will be very personal opinion.
Of course.
Because it has nothing to do with my construction committee chairman.
Correct.
My own opinion is that Sanatan is a way of life. The entire country is, in some ways or the other, is Sanatani in that kind of a spirit. What does the Sanatan mean? It only means that you love your human beings, you worship your God, whom you believe in, and toleration. That is what the Sanatan tells you. So, as far as my personal belief is concerned, that is a fact that I believe in Sanatan Dharm, and I also believe that it has provided stability to this country. And the second thing, let me assure you that the word and the controversy doesn't touch Ayodhya. Not a single man there would even bother about the controversy of Sanatan. He has his life, he has to look after. He knows that his economy is going to grow any times more, perhaps nth number more than what before, and he is happy with that.
But this whole surround sound, the noise around it, it's on television debates, it's on front pages of newspapers, has not touched the temple town.
I can assure you it is only there.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Mr. Nripendra Misra, for speaking with us
Thank
here on
you.
CNN News 18.
Thank you.